I got to be honest and transparent with you. I was shaken to my core when I saw what happened last weekend in Mississippi with 18-year-old Nolan Wells, who went out with his friends and did not return, but they returned with his cell phone. Lord, this is 2026. And still nobody has been arrested, nobody has been charged. But I'm thankful under God that God still has the final say. Come on, somebody ought to say something about it. God has the final say. I keep telling you, we are a local church, but we're making a global impact. Today, our dear friend is coming in to give us some updates about what is taking place and how it is that we can posture ourselves. Would you warmly welcome?
I'm going to just say this. If you are a pastor and Ben Crump is your dear friend, you are absolutely a pulpit pimp. Like, you cannot be trusted. Why would the people of God and a true shepherd, a preacher of the gospel, be interested in anything that Ben Crump has to say? So when I said, the iron triangle is teaming up. Okay, I got you. Say less. Keep the party going, player.
Attorney Benjamin Crump, who is coming online. Come on, y'all ought to shout for him. He's been standing for our people, standing for the community. Y'all ain't shouting good enough for us.
Standing for our people. Y'all, they about to give this man a humanitarian award. He probably gonna get an NAACP award if he hasn't already gotten one. When they say, I told y'all I speak fluent ignorant. When he says standing for our people, y'all, he's not talking about the people of God. He's not talking about the people who dwell in the light and love the truth. He is talking about, remember, I told y'all, this blackness is a religion. It is a false religion with its own pathway to salvation, and it has its own theological framework. But this whole charade is happening in a building that they call a church. But this is not a true church. I need for you to understand the distinction. This past Lord's Day, in true pulpit pimp fashion, Jamal Bryant takes to his pulpit over there at Stillbirth. Y'all know that's what I call it. Y'all know Stillbirth is it's a one-stop shop for harlots and hustlers. Okay, it just is. And he's out here spouting his usual jiggable jargon, and you're going to hear a litany of Marxist incantations. So let me play this clip because Ben Crump he's entered the sanctuary virtually.
Attorney, thank you so very much for taking a moment. And let me pause before you say anything. Thank you for being a voice that our people can depend on. Thank you for being there from Trayvon Martin all the way to George Floyd. And even in this moment, do we celebrate the life of Attorney Benjamin Crump? Come on, let's thank.
Y'all, he just named two of the most high-profile race hoaxes that this country has experienced in recent history. Trayvon Martin, which didn't turn out the way. There are still people who do not know the truth about. They still think that it was a racist injustice that happened with George Zimmerman, and that it was this a young black man can't go nowhere with Arizona iced tea and some Skittles. That's what they want you to believe. And then George Floyd, that's the patron saint of the blackness. George Floyd, let me break down what he represents. George Floyd represents the epitome of what they want every black man to see himself as. This is why he's the patron saint. They want you broke. They want you begging. They want you on your knees crying for your mama. High. Don't forget high. abusive, unruly, chaotic, with no self-control, resistant to authority, and just full of rebellion, and begging, talking about you can't breathe because the white man's knee is on your neck. Yeah, they want you to see yourself in George Floyd. Now, here's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying, to me, it is the most insulting thing to elevate George Floyd as your patron saint, and then to bring him up here as one of Ben Crump's greatest achievements, outside of exploiting that whole situation and burning a whole city down. And this nation has still yet to recover from the summer of love and all of the mayhem and the chaos and the racial division that was stoked on the back of George Floyd. The money that Black Lives Matter raised in his name and honor. All of the virtue signaling we saw from the Democrat Party, from Nancy Pelosi with her bad knees, kneeling with her kente cloth, like, from Jacob Frey boo-hooing and snotting at the casket of George Floyd. I'm like, you white liberals show are low down. Y'all get on my nerves and make me sick. This is why my people are the ones who do the will of my Father. And I don't care what color you are. You are my people if this stuff is equally disgusting to you as it is to me. I don't care what color you are. You just have to call balls and strikes. It was disgusting watching the mayor of Minneapolis with the virtue signaling fake tears, crying over a man that he did not know while his city burned down to the ground. And they lifted him up as this pillar of virtue. You all, we're all George Floyd. I said, let's just continue. I can't, y'all. I'm on one right now because I'm so weary. I'm so weary and I am so tired because we fall for this. There's a whole congregation of people that is sitting here clapping, giving honor to this thick-tongued, inarticulate, ambulance-chasing lawyer who has a proven track record of sensationalizing and exploiting any and every case if it involves a police officer or a white person. And not the black cops. They don't care if the black cops choke you out. You got to be white. But somehow we can't get this Negro to show up on any given weekend in Chicago or St. Louis or Baltimore or Philly, Portland, just you name it. We can't get him to show up and pour out his heart and show some concern for the countless number of young men, black ones, who are shot every weekend by other black men. So let's just listen to this man in the most deceptive way possible. We're going to call this the Sambo serenade to the congregation. Here's for your listening pleasure.
God for him. Attorney, thank you for getting up this morning. I ask that you'll share with us what's taking place in the case and what it is that we need to be aware of.
Thank you so much, Reverend Jamal Bryant, not just for allowing me to share with the New Birth family this morning, but thank you for your help with Trayvon Martin. You were the first preacher that came to Sanford, Florida from the national stage. Thank you for all your help in helping us get to the truth and getting justice for Ahmaud Arbery, who was lynched for jogging while black. Thank you for coming to Louisville, Kentucky to help us share the light on Breonna Taylor when nobody was saying her name. And of course, thank you for all your help and your tremendous oratory skills and being able to make the case for George Floyd. And now here we are fighting in Mississippi because Mississippi is burning right now.
Where y'all get this? I'm sorry. Where y'all get this Sambo from? I can't. Can we get some closed caption? Because it would be better for me to just read his words than to hear his words. I really struggle. I struggle with the diction and the tone I mean, y'all, I ain't gonna make it through this live stream listening to this man. I'm just not. This is a whole psyop. I hope y'all, is it me? Am I the only one that can see this and be like, this is a straight psyop? They pulling it. It's an election year. It's midterms. Democrats need power. And I can't even prove it, but I know how they operate. The Iron Triangle has been summoned from the four corners of the country to you got to get on this case. We need y'all on it. Stoke up the flames of racial hatred and division. November's right around the corner. I'm pretty sure Freddie Haynes gonna have something to say about this if he hasn't already. Freddie Haynes is the other pulpit pimp, the other Sambo who serenades his congregation with lies every Sunday. Yeah, he's running for Jasmine Crockett's old seat against Everett Jackson, and I'll be interviewing Everett again next week because he won the Republican nomination. He won his primary against what's the boy's name? Lord, don't get me the lion. I forgot. Anyway, don't worry about it. He won. Okay, so if you're in TX30, we need to bring a win home for Everett Jackson because we cannot. If y'all thought that Jasmine Crockett was bad, the pastor that discipled her and trained her in all of that wronciousness that she spouts on the internet and that she did in Congress, he's twice the son of hell that she was. Okay, so I'm telling you, you need to be educated on who these people are and the agenda that they represent. When they talk about blackness, they're not referring to a color. It is an ideology. It is the false religious system that requires your obeisance and your worship. It demands sacraments. And the sacraments that it demands is you must hate. And they don't come out and say that you must hate on the basis of ethnicity, but the white person, your white image bearer neighbor that you've been living next to since Jesus was an infant and y'all got along all of this time, you must look at them with distrust because his knee is on your neck, even though he's like, wait a minute, I go to work every day out here hustling with this high gas, just trying to make it from point A to point B, just like you do. And somehow I'm the problem. I'm telling you, this is a psyop. I hope you guys realize the psyop that's happening here. And I'm going to let them talk some more.
And we have to keep that fire intense until we can get to the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth on why Nolan Wells, this 18-year-old college football student athlete, is dead. We do know that on November 4th, he went to Horn Island in the Gulf of Mexico off the coast of Mississippi, where he was home for summer break before he was supposed to report back to college on Monday because he was going to this year have an opportunity to play Division I football.
See, all these details that have nothing to do with what happened are important, and I don't want you guys to miss it. This is a part of the narrative shaping. These are all great accomplishments. Hear me clearly, but it doesn't get us any closer to the truth of what happened. This is the performative baby violin for you to be like, oh, him wasn't even a thug. Because here's the deal. When it comes to Black life, we already know that they don't care about Black lives in the womb. We know that. We absolutely know that. And we know that they don't care about the Black lives in the hood when other Black people kill them. They've demonstrated a complete wanton disregard for that. But they've got to bring out the baby violin. And they've got to highlight all that Nolan Wells is and was and could have been so that you can be even more angry like, how dare they take one of the good ones? Mind you, there's a Taquayshawn somewhere laid out right now with chalk a whole chalk around his body, and no one's going to say his name. His mama is got a GoFundMe right now trying to come up with the funds to bury him. But Ben Crump's not going to show up for that and give this clarion call to his people to be like, y'all, when are we going to stop this? When are we going to value our own lives enough to say enough is enough? What can we do to come together and bring community resources to put these fathers back in the home? When are we going to have some initiatives to teach our young girls, baby girl, listen, marry before you carry, and don't kill your baby, because it's not enough of us being born in order to repopulate the people that are alive. Black Lives Matter. No, it don't. Have you ever heard Ben Crump, Al Sharpton, or Jamal Bryant parrot anything that I just said that is infinitely more valuable and that is a major crisis within our community right now? Where is that rhetoric? You won't hear them talk in those kinds of categories because it's not profitable. Telling Black women not to abort their children, there's no money in that. It is literally just a labor of love and having a love and desire for the truth and to see more Black babies born because you understand that they're made in the image of God. You don't get paid big bucks to say that. No, you get paid big bucks from Planned Parenthood when they give a little money to your campaign like they did Raphael Warnock, just a little bit in the coffers. We need you to make sure, that you say that, the hospital room is just too tight and cramped for the government to be in to preserve the life of the baby. Like, it's her body, her choice, but I'm a pastor and I'm a pro-choice pastor, even though the Bible specifically condemns the sin of murder, but I've somehow rationalized it. Yeah. This is a psyop. The baby violin of talk, because he was on his way on Monday. He got to get back to the school, to the community college, because it was Division 1 was right around the corner for him. All of those details, he's not saying this because they're proud of Nolan Wells. No, this is to pile on the coals on the head of, in their minds, this makes what happened to him that we're telling you the white people did it. This makes it more worse, much more worse. This should make you grieve more because his future was so promising. As if Taquayshawn's life doesn't have equal value. And as if Taquayshawn's life is not deserving of value, dignity, or respect. But they tell you how they feel about Taquayshawn's life and the baby's life in the womb because it's not their initiative. Like it's not like the NAACP. No, they only care about rainbow lives. Yeah. I'm waiting for them to enter the chat too, by the way. The NAACP, they'll jump on this eventually. Now, it may not be enough money to go around. They're kind of looking at the GoFundMe to see if it tips over $1 million. Maybe, we don't know. But they may raise some money off of it. The family won't see it. We'll see.
He was a superb athlete. He was in tip-top shape. His family is not accepting this suggestion that it was just an accidental drowning. And because there's so many glaring contradictions, Reverend Bryant, the fact that he was talking to a young lady and she said that Nolan said he was going back to get in the boat with the boys who he came with.
This man sound like the drunk homeless person on the corner that when he asks you to buy him something to eat and for some money to buy him something to eat, and you say, no, I'm gonna just go buy you something, and then he come with the story. That's what this sounds like to me. I'm sorry, y'all. I can't listen to this man speak. Oh, Lord. We are 3 minutes and 53 seconds in, and this a 9-minute clip. Y'all ain't gonna make it. I am not gonna make it listening to this thick-tongued man talk. How you got a speech impediment and you the spokesperson for the family? I mean, y'all should have just let Al take this. Or You don't have like a junior attorney in your office, Ben, that he could just say, "Here, I'm here representing the office of Ben Crump," who's he just infinitely more better in terms of the presentation skills and the diction and the articulation. Because something is wrong. Something is. I can't listen to this man. This man went to law school and has a law degree. I couldn't even sit. I would not be able to sit across from him as he explains to me my legal options. I would just be looking at him like, okay, okay.
And then the boys said that no, Nolan said that he said he was going to stay behind and talk to the girl. So
Talk
there's
to the
some
girl.
conflict there. Both of them can't be telling the truth. That's number one. And then, Reverend Bryant, we see on a video, because you're right, young people in 2026, they're always filming things on their cell phone. There's an obvious argument going on where his friends have reported to our office and our investigators that Nolan was saying, "Give me my freaking phone. What are you freaking doing?" Suggesting that they had his phone.
Now, how are you the attorney for the family? And this video, this was from yesterday. You didn't know that there's now a young man saying, "No, that was me"? I mean, that's what the news reported. The news, Rolling Stone, and some other outlets have already interviewed the other young man who's like, "Look, these people are harassing us and we just want the truth." But that video, that's me. That's not Nolan arguing. If you are the attorney for the family, how can we trust anything that you say and you're not even up to date on the latest facts? Is he going to correct this record, or is he going to continue to parrot this? The goal is to just introduce suspicion. Kind of like what Candace Owens has been doing for the past 10 months. She ain't interested in the truth. She's just trying confusion. Just insert some confusion to obfuscate what's really going on, to distract you from the truth so that you can look at the shiny thing right here, which is the race grift. And to be like, you know what? When I vote, we gotta start voting for the Democrats because they the only ones who gonna be fighting for us and stuff. Mm-hmm. What this is a PSYOP campaign to reinforce to the Black community the Marxist mindset and the communist thinking in the worldview. Look at how they're viewing this as a collective, as comrades, right? They want you to this is our problem and we need justice. It's us against them. Do you see the framing of the category and the construct design? And what makes this story so deceptive is because there are elements of inconsistency and legitimate questions that so many of us have. That's what makes this so deceptive, because what they want you to do is lean into the race narrative. Don't focus on, we're going to put that aside. We're going to make the proper category distinctions, and just as the facts come in, we're going to analyze them categorically in their proper context. And then let's see, what is the medical examiner saying? What is the police investigation going to reveal? I'm not saying that you should not have your own independent autopsy. You should. The red flags of who's paying for it and who's involved and who is speaking on behalf of this family is the problem for me. There's nothing you can tell me to convince me that these people are interested in the truth. They're only interested in exploiting this. And there's a whole lot of bad actors that are doing one or two things. Either they are exploiting the legitimate pain and grieving of this family and have cozied up to them as we're your friend and we're your advocates and we're advocating for you in your time of grief. And because when you are grieving, you are vulnerable, your defenses are down, you just like, everything is all over the place. You get conned and deceived into thinking that these people are really for you. How many victims' families have come out after the fact and said, I ain't seen none of that money that Black Lives Matter raised. Ain't nobody called and checked on me. They ain't said, hi, boo, how you do? Nothing. You got to be real low down and Weasley to exploit a grieving family. But this is what they do. If y'all have never seen the Iron Triangle at work, let me explain. The Iron Triangle is the black pulpit preacher. You got Bryant and Sharpton. He's serving double duty. Because of the triangle, you have the pulpit pimp preacher, you have the civil rights worker, and then you got the politician. So technically, we don't have a politician here per se. I'm sure one has entered the discussion. But Bryant and Sharpton serve as the civil rights worker and as the ecclesiastical false church representative. And Crump, even though he's an attorney, he's more of a civil rights race baiter than anything else. And he's not a politician. So, but this is still a manifestation of what the Iron Triangle keeps. The reason why the Black community is so beholden to progressive leftist Democrat politics is because of this, and they use racial grievance as the Achilles heel. They know we're weak when it comes to that and highly sensitive to it. And because it is void of truth or knowledge on an objective, or it has an objective basis of truth, they can use the fact that you're not looking to the scriptures or looking to Christ for your identity or your value. No, they want to create that for you. This is a psyop. This is a psyop.
And then that becomes very relevant, Reverend Bryant and New Birth, when you put the facts together that they claim he said he was going to stay behind, and they went back home safely, but yet 2 days later, his body is rushed on the coast. It ends up on the coastline dead, and he doesn't have his cell phone. His mother tracks his cell phone with her sister on Life 360 because people want to know where their children are at. And it is at one of the boys' house who owned the boat. So we're in Mississippi. These were 3 young white men. Nolan was the only young Black man. And Reverend Bryant, had the roles been reversed, we know this investigation would be going differently. It would be like First 48.
How do we know? On what basis? On what basis is he making this assertion other than to cement in the minds of Black folks that no matter what we do, nothing's our fault? They're always against us. The knee is always going to be on our neck. And even if we do everything right, something like this could still happen to us. We just can't catch a break. That's why he told you this story. He wanted to remind you that no matter what, the system, everything's against you. And even if the roles had been reversed, it'd be like First 48. They'd already have autopsy done. The autopsy would already be finished, and they would have had connected all the dots. That's what they want you to believe. Listen, I really would, because I love y'all. I'd really love to play the rest of this clip, but this is triggering for me. Like, his voice is triggering for me. I I'm not mature enough. There it is. I'll admit it. I am struggling in the area of maturity to be able to cope and deal with this. Okay? So I can't. Maybe tomorrow and something could be different, but right now ain't no way. No, I can't. I'm sorry. The man lacks credibility to me. And the fact that him and Jamal Bryant are teaming up to notice how they position themselves as the authorities, the people that we should be looking to for guidance and wisdom. They position themselves on like kind of like the Pharisees that sit in the seat. They making the decisions. Like he really does. I am telling you what I know. This is a psyop. It is. This is a psyop. This, what we just watched, like I said, we never see this level of stop the presses happen when nameless, faceless young men are shot or mysteriously killed, or things just happen to them that don't add up, don't make no sense. Police don't have no leads because nobody in the community wants to talk. These men are nowhere to be found. They don't show any concern for those young men. So, like I said, what we just listened to is probably one of the most deceptive Sambo serenades that you probably have heard in a long time. And this is why I say this is a psyop. They want this so bad. They want this to be the next George Floyd. They want this to be the next Breonna Taylor or the next Trayvon Martin. That's what they want. It's not. And they are hoping, like they are wishing, crossing their fingers, hoping this is the next Trey Reed, but not really, because Trey Reed wasn't lynched. But that is the narrative that's already been put out there that hasn't been disproven by them because they won't release the autopsy. So we don't know. Because like I said, speaking of which, they've not released that autopsy. It just went away. Don't ask no questions. Family wants privacy now. We just got off the heels of the Carmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf tragedy, where the family has been demonstrated because they were associated with the JV squad of race hustling and race grievance. They're being sued by Sarah Fields, the investigative journalist. Everybody associated with Carmelo Anthony from a social justice advocacy perspective or just fake legal perspective, something wrong with all of them. They've all been found to be dishonest, criminal. You got Dominique Alexander is like the baby shaking, like it's a mess. Credibility went out the window, and we saw these people were raising money, and at the end of the day, the one who is losing in all of this is Carmelo Anthony, because we watched in the Carmelo Anthony situation, we watched adults advocate for a young man to be able to stab somebody because there was an altercation and he put his hands on him. So, ain't nothing wrong with stabbing somebody for that. They defended that. And they defended it only because Austin Metcalf was white. And so they wanted it to be viewed as, well, the blacks, we just so weak and we feel threatened and we got to protect ourselves. Same situation here. They don't want this to be, first of all, we don't even know what happened. But they don't want this to be, or they will never accept, this could be a dispute between teenagers. This could be a situation where I heard an expert talk about how on these islands with these embankments, how sometimes drownings happen all the time, even with people who swim, because of the way the tide and the current is. Like, it doesn't matter what really happened. They will never accept it or come back and say, you know, we're just glad that the truth came out and that it wasn't racist and there was nothing, no nefarious intent. We just want to go grieve our baby and that's not, you're not going to get that. It's just going to disappear. After they're finished milking this and the funds run out, no one really cares about what actually happened to this young man. His funeral is going to be a Democrat pep rally to invigorate you for the midterms, to make sure that you come out, because democracy, right? Democracy is at risk. And because, you know, somehow along the way, this is Donald Trump's fault, because this is Donald Trump's America. So Trump is going to get named at the funeral. I can guarantee you. Al Sharpton's going to bring him up. This pimp is going to be there. What's the boy name? Jamal Bryant. He's going to be there. They're going to be invoking. This is going to be a rally. This is a political rally where the memory of this young man is going to be used for political purposes. If I'm wrong, whenever his funeral has been said and they're going to air it, I will retract. If that's what if it just ends up being, let's just celebrate the life of Nolan Wells. No, the moment they let any of these individuals speak, it's going to tell you what this is. They will use anything. Never let a tragedy go to waste. Never. Because it's useful. They have to do this because they are losing Black support. Too many people, including Blacks, are waking up to this race hustle, and the racism is losing its power. So now they have to create it. They got to manufacture it by any means necessary, hoping that it yields them the outcomes that they're looking for in these midterms. They're gonna turn out the Black vote. Because, you know, y'all think alike anyway. Because you get the white people in the room, you don't know what you're going to get, but them Blacks.